On today's episode of I Grew Up in an Actual Dictatorship, so you know you're not in one, I want to show you guys what happens when you give power to a communist dictator that rose to power through socialism. This is the story of Eliodoro Garcia, a political refugee who I personally interviewed and whose anecdote will blow your mind away. It was the year 1972. Fidel Castro had already established El CDR, which is a committee that watches every move and every Cuban have in each block on their cities. Order had come down from Fidel Castro. He knew of the big discontent brewing in their cities. He instructed every representative to round up every young person from their city. Teodoro Garcia was one of them. One morning, on his way to work, the representative came up to him and cited him to the public plaza, but gave him no reason or explanation. The next morning, after saying goodbye to his three kids and his wife, Eliodoro Garcia starts making his way to the public plaza. To his surprise, he sees 19 other people that lived around his city. It was a very small city in Santa Clara. The mood started to change. As when they arrived, there were government officials with bayonets waiting for them to load them up in a bus and take them to the nearest train station. The mood started to set even more there, as there was a train with around 20 carts full of young people, all of them boarded on a train forcefully while they were held at gunpoint. Destination still unknown. As much as it was unknown for them, it was unknown for their wives, kids, and family they left behind. Fidel Castro had come up with an idea. He wanted to avoid the youth rebelling, so he sent them more to Pinal del Rio. It was around 1,000 young people. In Pinal del Rio, it was barren land, so Fidel was going to have them build houses and work for the foreseeable future. His name was a number given to him on arrival, and they were to live in public tents. Next 6 months were hell for Eliodoro. He couldn't see his three kids, and his wife was at home with a 1-year-old, a 5-year-old, and a 7-year-old, taking care of them by themselves, not knowing where her husband was. 6 months down the road, Eliodoro Garcia decided he has had enough. So he came up with an excuse saying that one of his kids was really ill and he needed to go see his family. His permission was granted, but only for 3 days, as he had to come back and continue working. By the way, I wanted to add that this was free labor. They weren't being paid for this. But a year later, he was given an apartment of 2 bedrooms in which he had to bring his family to go live here. However, he was not allowed to ever go back to his house. 30 years Eliodoro Garcia until his escape from Cuba to the United States, he spent living in that apartment only earning $5 a month, as half of his salary was taken for that apartment that he was given. The forced labor and the underpayment is not what Eliodoro remembers with more pain. It is the dehumanizing treatment he received. He was grouped in with thousands of people in temporary tents, given food that was very rationed as much as his water. And the worst part, the guards that were watching him so he wouldn't escape wouldn't refer to him by his name, but by a number. And lastly, how he spent a whole year without seeing his three kids, missed all of